We're joined now by the Deputy Leader of the Green Party, Zach Polanski. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So we've got local elections fast approaching. Where are your sort of main targets? What's a good night look like?
Well, there's literally exciting opportunities for the Green Party everywhere. I've been whizzing around the country for the last few weeks. Mid-Suffolk is obviously the one that I think a lot of people are paying attention to. We could have an outright majority on Mid-Suffolk Council. Just to be clear, that would be the first time in the Northern Hemisphere that the Green Party had an outright majority on a council, so that would be a really big night for us. But also we're looking to extend control, places where we're already in administration, places like Lancaster, Lewes, Brighton and Hove. But actually there's lots of other councils too. I was on the Wirral yesterday, this week I've been in Bradford, Sheffield, but also quite excited about Worcester, Hertfordshire, Herefordshire, South Tyneside. As you can hear, there's lots of them.
You say that the Greens are targeting everywhere, but let's get real. There's some, and you've rattled off a few of them, where you've got a real chance of breaking through. Others where, let's be honest, it's going to be a bit of an uphill struggle. In those areas, do you think that Green supporters should vote tactically?
I think what's really clear is when people see Green councillors, they want more Green councillors.
But that's not the question, though.
No, absolutely.
Should they vote tactically, do you think?
Well, no, I think I would always say if there is a Green Party politician on the ballot paper, then vote for a Green, because a vote for a Green is a vote for someone in your community. We don't necessarily have professional politicians. We have doctors, nurses, cleaners, people who are in their communities who have got involved with politics because they want to tackle both the climate crisis and the cost of living crisis. And on Thursday, by voting Green, that's an opportunity to have a real community representative.
In the local election week, everyone's getting their expectation management game in, right? So we had Mark Harper saying, look, the Conservatives, we're going to lose around 1,000 seats. Then you had Keir Starmer saying, no, they should be making gains, they shouldn't lose any seats. Where's the truth?
There is a lot of expectation management going on watching those interviews. So in 2019, the Green Party had our best results ever. And then it's only ever got better since then. So this should technically be a tough election for us because for the very first time, we're defending that big surge of seats we had. But actually, not only do we expect to hold those seats, we're looking to gain even 100 more. So you can call this expectation management, but actually I'm really hopeful and excited for the Green Party's chances.
Right, let's talk about policy a little bit, shall we? Earlier this year, you stepped back from an outright rejection of NATO. Now, NATO is obviously a nuclear alliance. What's the Green Party position on nuclear weapons then?
Well, we're not keen on nuclear weapons at all, and I think that shouldn't be a contentious thing to say. I think very often in politics, it's kind of driven at politicians to ask, would you hit the nuclear button? I think we need to be really clear how devastating nuclear weapons are. So with NATO, we are still very sceptical, and I think it's fair to say that. We're looking for reforms for NATO. So, for instance, they would say that they would never use nuclear weapons first, that they would put dialogue over military action. And I think all of those things are basic common sense things that would appeal to most people. I think we need to be really clear, and we see this with Ukraine, that a country's sovereign right to defend itself in defence must absolutely be there. That's very different to militaristic operations that are often baked in money and about governments trying to extend power.
So just to be clear then, what is the stance on nuclear weapons then? Because no one likes them, right? No one wants to use them, but some people think they're a necessary evil. Do you think they're a necessary evil, or do you think they should be got rid of? And if you think that, why are you not against NATO?
Well, I'd like to see them get rid of, and in fact, that is NATO's own policy. So NATO are looking...
It's a nuclear alliance, though, isn't it? Come on.
Well, exactly, and that's why we're looking to reform. In their own nuclear alliance, they talk about a time when they would no longer have to exist, and I think that's the place we have to get to. I don't think that's particularly complicated. I think we want to make sure we're looking for a world where we're looking for peace and security. That's not naive. I think what's naive is to continue in an arms race and expect that to bring peace.
I'm keen to ask about HS2 as well, high-speed rail. What's the Green Party position on high-speed rail?
So high-speed rail is a more complicated question because we absolutely support high-speed rail. Now, on HS2, on that particular project, I think that risks turning Birmingham into a commuter town for London. There's actually large areas of the north, in particular in Wales, that don't have any real infrastructure at all. So essentially what we're saying is we've reached a point where 40% of this has been built already. So there will be a point in time where we have to say, OK, is it now time to reconsider position? At the moment, we're looking to hold HS2 Limited to account to look how can we minimise the risk of this. But to give you another example, I'm elected in the London Assembly and I'm challenging London Mayor Sadiq Khan. He's building a new road tunnel, the Silvertown Road Tunnel. That's going to cost £2.5 billion. I've argued very strongly that that road tunnel should not be built for both social justice reasons. Air pollution is a real killer, particularly for minority communities and the working class, and they often have the most toxic air. The mayor has insisted on building that tunnel, and now the diggers are in the ground. We've reached a point now where it's no longer sensible to oppose it. Okay. We've got to talk about how can we rescue it and get it using public transport instead.
Just to go back to HS2, right? Because if you're serious about green policies, right, we've got to invest in railways. It's one of the greener methods of transport. And this is the big chance, the big infrastructure project. And I get that people have issues with HS2, that there are individual cases, things you'd like to do differently. But you're the Green Party, why aren't you backing it?
I think it's bigger than people just have issues on it. It's incredibly environmentally destructive. There's lots of ancient woodlands that are being destroyed. And ultimately, again, it comes back to the same question. Does Birmingham to London really need that new piece of railway infrastructure? Or did actually lots of places in the north
campaigning for the
need
rest of it, couldn't you?
Well,
You could be
absolutely.
saying, look, why don't you, we should be backing HS2, it needs a champion. Why don't you do that?
I'm absolutely backing more railway infrastructure
Northern
that's
Line,
not
for
environmentally
example.
destructive. I think it's really important that we have proper nuanced conversations about this, so we absolutely support high-speed railway.
Just not...
Well, exactly. If the project is not
Okay.
right, then it's right to challenge it rather than just back it on ideological grounds.
And just finally, what's your green guilty pleasure? Are you a meat eater? Do you take like a flight every year? What is it?
Well, I'm really going to bore you because I'm vegan, I don't fly and I don't drive. But actually, my guilty pleasure is saying to people all the time that you don't have to be vegan to join the Green Party. You can own a car and be in the Green Party. Ultimately, this is about system change and the big change. We're not about individual responsibility. So I'd encourage everyone to join the Green Party on greenparty.org/join.
Wow, I
Had to
can't
get that
believe
there,
you got that
Sophie. Thank
in.
you.
I cannot believe you managed to sneak that one in. Didn't even have time to cut you off. Thank you very
much for
much
having me.
indeed. Zach Polanski there of the Green Party.